Application of ethics. Issues with privacy breach. Context. Recently, Indian cricketer Virat Kohli's hotel room was captured, recorded, and posted on the media without his consent. This has created a huge public uproar. The internet has brought about dramatic changes in the perception of the world around an individual. The use of technology to connect to larger society has brought in new challenges and debates on the ethicality of their use. Recent trends of privacy breaches. Increasingly, the private lifestyle is brought into the public sphere. Public interference in the personal life of the celebrity or influencer. Issues with the changed landscape of privacy. Privacy breaches disturb trust and run the risk of diluting or losing security. It disrespects law and violates ethical principles. Development of business models that profit from the privacy of the individuals. X. Reality shows like Big Boss growing uncertainty due to the blurring of private and public life. Imbalance in the desire for publicity and revulsion over too much celebrityness. Difficult to ensure a balance between the two private and public spheres. Public sphere beyond ideas of privacy. 1. There is increasing surveillance of public life by the state, institutions, etc. X. Surveillance cameras, healthcare facilities, prisons, etc. Though media through newspapers, press, cinemas, etc. have helped capture the outside world beyond the immediate public sphere. Despite these changes, personal life continues to be protected by laws, e.g., right to privacy, under Article 21 after K. Puthaswamy judgment. Also, public life also has allowed the citizens to exercise the right to freedom, right to speech and expression, U.A. 19. In cases where public and private life converges, the ethical precepts and morality of individuals define and alter reality. 70 Insights on India. Com. Mains link, Q1. What are the basic principles of public life? Illustrate any three of these with suitable examples. 2019. Ethical issues concerned with Tesla's autopilot. Directions. This article has been taken from The Hindu. The article discusses the moral dilemmas associated with the increased adoption of self-driving cars. Context. Autonomous vehicle manufacturer Tesla faces their biggest challenge since the launch of Autopilot in 2015 as a series of lawsuits and a criminal case over fatal Tesla accidents head to court. What are autonomous vehicles? A driverless car is a vehicle which can sense its surrounding environment and can navigate without human input. It combines multiple sensors and techniques to perceive their surroundings like radar, laser light, GPS, odometer, computer vision, etc. Benefits associated with the use of autonomous vehicles. Ethical issues involved accountability. In the case of any crash, whether the car owner would be accountable or the manufacturer of that vehicle. Law vs ethics. Autonomous cars are made to follow traffic rules strictly. But sometimes traffic rules have to be compromised. Patient's life vs traffic rules. Displaying human values. When the vehicle finds an injured person or an old lady, will it stop to help them and display the qualities of compassion and empathy? Impacts on environment. This will promote vehicle usage at a time when the objective is to reduce vehicles to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Automation vs human livelihoods. Job loss to drivers without compensatory skill development and job creation. Hacking privacy vs security. There is a problem if a car is hacked and programmed for killing. Also, problems related to the privacy of people. Conclusion. As the debate around autonomous vehicles and ethics intensifies due to the increasing adoption of self driving cars, we hope that strict laws and regulations will be developed that can finally answer the questions in a correct, justifiable manner. Install links. Prelims link autonomous vehicles, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, cloud computing. Mains links. What do you understand by autonomous vehicles? Discuss the ethical issues involved in using autonomous vehicles. Death in a gene therapy study, ethical issues. Context. The lone volunteer in a unique study involving a gene editing technique has died. This has raised concerns regarding the O. Insights on India. Com 71. Cause behind and ethical issues behind gene editing technology. Terry Hogan, a 27-year-old, died last month. He was under trial with a gene editing tool called CRISPR to treat Duchenne muscular dystrophy, the rare, genetic muscle wasting disease which is caused by a mutation in the gene needed to produce a protein called dystrophin. About gene editing. It is a type of genetic engineering in which DNA is inserted, deleted or replaced in the genome of an organism using artificially engineered nucleases, or molecular scissors. Ethics of gene editing. Insta links. Q. What are the ethical concerns involved in gene editing technology? Discuss. Thus M. T. N. Sheshan, the man who changed the face of Indian elections. Direction. Examples from already serving bureaucrats or the ones who have worked towards bringing reforms in society add value to your answer. This can be used as a way forward in GS-2 electoral reforms, ethics, upright public servant. Context. The Supreme Court, mooting the idea of including the Chief Justice of India in the selection process for the Chief Election Commissioner, has said a person like former CEC, the late T.N. Sheshan, happens once in a while. T.N. Sheshan's contributions. Electoral reforms. His strict commandments were no bribing or intimidating voters, no distribution of liquor during the elections, no use of official machinery for campaigning, no appealing to voters' caste or communal feelings, no use of religious places for campaigns, and no use of loudspeakers without prior written permission. He also enforced the Model Code of Conduct, strictly monitored limits on poll expenses, and cracked down on several malpractices like wall graffiti. The issuance of voter IDs for all eligible voters came into being under his strict watch. Ethical values, integrity. He was instrumental in rooting out many of the corrupt and unfair practices followed by political parties during elections in India. Transparency and accountability. His ideas and philosophies were inclined towards transparent and accountable governance. Leadership qualities. He did not bow in front of corrupt politicians and worked towards the betterment of society. He was awarded the Ramon Magsaysay Award in 1996 for his resolute actions to bring order, fairness, and integrity to elections in India, the world's largest democracy. Mains link Q. Discuss the significant role played BKT and Sheshan in establishing progressive and autonomous election commission machinery in the country. 250 words. Codes of ethics, codes of conduct. Unwritten rule for people holding public office. Direction. This can be mentioned as an example of how elected lead 72 insights on India. As misuse their position. Context. A five-judge constitution bench headed by Justice S.A. Nazir said that there is an unwritten rule for people holding public office that they exercise self-restriction and not blabber things which are very disparaging or insulting to other countrymen. The top court said this approach is part of our constitutional culture and there is no need for it to formulate a code of conduct for public functionaries. The top court was hearing a case related to a statement made by then Uttar Pradesh Minister Azam Khan in 2016 about the Bulandshahr gang rape case victims. Khan was also booked for making inflammatory speeches while addressing a public meeting ahead of the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. He was recently convicted for delivering a hate speech, was given a 3-year jail term, and subsequently was disqualified from the Rampur assembly seat in Uttar Pradesh. Earlier judgments. Two judgments Tahsin Poonawalla and Amish Devgan where the Honorable Supreme Court has laid down detailed guidelines and issued detailed directions as to what is to be done when such hate speeches are made which are abhorrent to the society. Code of Ethics and Code of Conduct. Codes of ethics establish basic principles by which public servants must abide, such as integrity, selflessness, and openness. A code of conduct draws on the code of ethics to formulate standards and practices that should be applied to the particular circumstances of an institution. A code of conduct sets out specific standards of professional behavior expected in a host of situations and provides public officials with guidance for handling them. In addition, codes of conduct bring transparency and public accountability into governmental operations. Intralinks. Ethics in public life. Mains link Q. Identify 10 essential values that are needed to be an effective public servant. Describe the ways and means to prevent non-ethical behavior in public servants. UPSC 2021. Ethical concerns and dilemmas in government and private institutions. Twitter employees layoffs. Ethical issues involved. Context. Twitter's roughly 7,500 employees are expecting mass layoffs as new owner Elon Musk overhauls the social platform. Background. A layoff or downsizing is the temporary suspension or permanent termination of an employee or a group of employees for business reasons such as personnel management or downsizing, cutting the size of an organization. A class action lawsuit was filed by laid-off employees, alleging that Twitter has violated the law by failing to provide the requisite notice. Ethical issues involved. Balancing the interests of the two important stakeholders, investors and employees. Utilitarianism. Mass layoffs' impact on the well-being of the people as a whole must be considered. Corporate governance and business ethics. Mandates prior notice period. Responsibility. It is the legal obligation of an employer to act in the best interest of its employees. Empathy. Elon Musk once stated in an interview that he experienced financial difficulties when unemployed. Thus, he should think from the standpoint of his employees. Insights on India. Com73. Insta links Q. What's the importance of ethics and morals in work culture? Can ethics be enforced in the workplace? Examine. Thus M. Facts for prelims. GSAC. Indian Heritage and Culture. KUMARASAMBHAVM. Context. Kalidasa's epic Sanskrit work Kumarasambhavam may have influenced Malayalam art and literature, and Kathakali dance. Kumarasambhavam is an epic poem by Kalidasa. It is widely regarded as the finest work of Kalidasa as well as the greatest Kavya poem in classical Sanskrit. The work describes the courting of the ascetic Shiva, who is meditating in the mountains, by Parvati, the daughter of the Himalayas. Guru Granth Sahib. Context: the 10 Sikh Gurus had a strong link with classical music. Each of the nearly 6,000 verses in the Guru Granth Sahib is based on a rag. What are rags Sikhi? Rags, a collection of pitches, kind of like a scale or mode in Western music, are used in Sikh music simply to create a mood and are not restricted to particular times. A mood can be created by the music of the rag regardless of the time of day. There are a total of 60 rags or melodies within the Guru Granth Sahib. Guru Granth Sahib, central holy religious scripture of Sikhism, was composed predominantly of 6 Sikh Gurus: Guru Nanak, Guru Angad, Guru Amar Das, Guru Ram Das, Guru Arjan and Guru Tegh Bahadur. Indigenous art forms. Context: 24 artists have attempted to draw attention to the severity of climate change, at a time when experts are preparing for COP27 in Egypt. Some of the art forms drawn are Bada Dev, a revered deity for Gond Pradhan tribes. He is believed to reside in the Saja tree. The Gond are a Dravidian ethno-linguistic group and are one of the largest tribal groups in India. Varli paintings. Varli painting is a type of tribal art that is predominantly done by tribal people from Maharashtra's North Sahyadri range. Madhubani painting. Bihar Matani Pachedi, literally meaning, behind the mother goddess. The painting is mainly done by the nomadic Waghari community of Gujarat. Guru Nanak. Context: the 553rd birth anniversary of Sikh Guru Nanak Dev is celebrated on November 8, 2022. Guru Nanak Dev. He was the founder of Sikhism and the first of the 10 Sikh Gurus. He establishes a unique spiritual, social and polity 74 Insights on India. Com. Cal platform based on equality, fraternal love, goodness and morality through the notion of Ek Onkar, one God. His remarks are recorded in the Guru Granth Sahib, Sikhism's holy text. His birth is commemorated as Guru Nanak Gurpurab all across the world. Guru Tegh Bahadur. Context: the Prime Minister of India has paid tributes to Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji on his Shahidi Divas Martyrdom Day. Background: Guru Tegh Bahadur stood up against forcible conversions by the Mughals and was executed on the orders of Aurangzeb in 1675. Guru Tegh Bahadur. He was born to Mata Nanki and Guru Har Gobind, the 6th Sikh Guru, who raised an army against the Mughals and introduced the concept of warrior saints. He was the 9th of 10 Gurus and a fearless warrior, a learned spiritual scholar whose hymns are included in Sri Guru Granth Sahib, the main text of Sikhism. On the orders of Aurangzeb, Guru Tegh Bahadur was executed in Delhi and Gurdwara Sisganj Sahib in Chandni Chowk now stands on his execution site. Insights on India. Com 75. Patan Patola. Context: at the G20 summit, the Indian Prime Minister gifted a traditional artwork, Patan Patola scarf to his Italian counterpart. He also gifted Matani Pachedi, a handmade Gujarat textile offered in temples, to UKPM. Pitra, a tribal folk art from Chota Udaipur, to the Australian leader. About Patan Patola. The ancient art of double ikat or patola weaving in pure silk dates back to the 11th century, and the Salvi family of North Gujarat is one of the last practitioners of the declining art form. This unique fabric derives from a sophisticated and difficult technique of dyeing or not dyeing on the warp and weft separately before weaving, known as bandhani. A standard scarf costs between 80,000 rupees and 100,000 rupees, depending on the rain's enrichment ethics essay. Culture. Tribal culture preservation and integration. Context. The Anthropological Survey of India, ANSI, has recreated the huts of several communities at its different regional centers, especially those of particularly vulnerable tribal groups PVTGS. These huts are made using authentic design and traditional materials, and are often with participation from tribal communities. The initiative revives such traditional craftsmanship and maintain the cultural heritage of the tribe. For instance, Jarwa hut, called a chidda, has traditional baskets, bows and arrows, and other artifacts. The Shompan hut contains a store of a paste made using the pandanus fruit which members of the tribe eat during food shortage. The zonal anthropological museums of ANSI are important tourist destinations, and the construction of these tribal huts within the museum premises will help to increase the interest of visitors and sensitize them about the indigenous traditional tribal culture. NUSHU, the secret language men don't know. Direction. This example can be used in the preservation of culture. Context. Nushu, a 400-year-old script invented to allow women to communicate with each other without men's understanding, has taken on new significance today. Initially scrawled on the ground with walk ashes using tree branches, the script was later written on folding fans or embroidered on handkerchiefs, and evolved into Poeta Nushu, a secret language invented in China's Hunan province, to help peasants in secluded villages deal with conditions in which their feet were bound and they were confined to their chamber rooms. While Nushu is being preserved as a cultural artifact, it meant much more to its practitioners, and its role is still 162. Insights on India. Important today. Society. Reverse mentorship. Context. Current workplaces have the widest generational spread of employees. As Gen Zs begin to enter the workforce, four generations are now working together, a phenomenon we have not seen before this decade. Reverse mentoring pairs staff across generational divides, encouraging a bottom up flow of information alongside the traditional top down approach. The reversed approach can take the form of a one-way mentorship, with junior staff teaching specific skills or sharing information upwards, or it can be part of traditional mentorship structures, with both parties seeking to learn from each other. Reverse mentoring schemes can make younger staff feel listened to and welcome enough. FICs, helping reduce employee ment churn. Singapore's enabling village. Context. Lessons from Unique Village on using innovation to support persons with disabilities is the newest integrated community space in Singapore. The Enabling Village represents a fresh approach to social businesses and community building. The Enabling Village combines retail, lifestyle, and training for disabled members of the community in an all accessible public space. The success of the Enabling Village rests on the following pillars. universal design, ramps for wheelchair users, lifts installed at multi-story blocks, and a barrier-free movement system ensures that the space is accessible to persons with disabilities. Something for everyone, e.g., braille lettering on the washroom doors, tactile indicators on the floor, and a hearing loop system ensure all rooms are wired so the hearing aid can automatically connect with the room sound system. They also launched the Enabling Academy, wherein people can find job opportunities after taking up courses at the Enabling Village. This arm of the project was created to provide diverse lifelong learning opportunities for persons with disabilities. Social justice. Police stations. Kerala. Direction. This initiative can be mentioned in GS Answers as well as ethics essays as a case study. Context. Kerala will shortly have over 142 full-fledged child-friendly police stations CFPS, giving it a head start over the rest of the country in child-centric policing. Also Orissa, an extensive training has been designed in association with the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF for enhancing skill sets and bringing about attitudinal and mindset changes in officers entrusted with managing the stations. The idea is to bring a paradigm shift where it is supposed to fill five different roles as the situation demands, that of an enforcer of children's rights, a mentor, a promoter of child rights, a knowledge and reference center for all activities related to the care and protection of children, a facilitator for interagency partnerships and civil society engagement. Women. Data points, teenage pregnancies or Insights on India. Com 163. Context. A new study by an India based non-profit Child Rights in Ukraine has found the practice of child marriage is regarded as an important custom for over half the parents and parents in law in India. As a result, 3 out of 5 child brides report teenage pregnancies. At least 1.5 million girls under 18 get married in India, according to the United Nations Child Rights Body UNICEF. The prevalence of child marriage among girls is likely to be 6 times higher than the prevalence of child marriage among boys, according to a 2019 UNICEF press note. Women friendly workspaces. Context. A video of a civil servant, Divya S. Iyer, district collector, Pathanamthitta, in the southern Indian state of Kerala holding her 3-year-old son in her arms while delivering a speech at an event went viral, starting a lively debate on social media. Concerns that working women face in our society. Working mothers, especially poor daily wage laborers and domestic helpers, are forced to take their children to work every day. The reintegration of working mothers after maternity is an issue in today's highly ambitious workplace. Instances from around the globe. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern brought her infant to the UN General Assembly. Australian Senator Larissa Waters breastfed her baby in Parliament, highlights how workspaces needed to change and become more accommodating. 4 major stakeholders in the case of working women: the partner, the family, the workspace, society at large. Steps needed. Parenting being gender neutral, not associated only with women. The need for equal parenting, wherein each parent does interchangeable roles of childcare, helps break gender stereotype. Accommodate workspaces policy intervention to provide adequate childcare options for women workers. Government steps increased maternity leave from 84 days to 6 months and by introducing paternity leave. Creche facilities are getting installed in public and private facilities. MGNREGA has regulations for the provision of creches at work sites. Working women do not require sympathy or a paternalistic mindset. But we need to provide them with a positive space, both physically and mentally, to perform well. There is a need for greater sensitization. Polity. India's first suicide prevention policy. Context. In line with the WHO Southeast Asia Region Strategy for Suicide Prevention, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare announced a national suicide prevention strategy, the first of its kind in the country. Data on suicides in India. In India, more than 1 lakh lives are lost every year to suicide, and it is the top killer in the 15 to 29 years category. In the past 3 years, the suicide rate has increased from 10.2 to 11.3 per 1,000,000 population. The most common reasons for suicide include family problems and illnesses, which account for 34% and 18% of all suicide related deaths. Highlights of the policy: time bound action plans and multi sectoral collaborations to achieve a reduction in suicide mortality by 10% by 2030. Establish effective surveillance mechanisms for suicide within the next 3 years. Establish psychiatric outpatient departments that will provide suicide prevention services through the district mental health program within the next 5 years. Integrate a mental well-being curriculum in all educational institutions within the next 8 years. 164 O. Insights on India. Com. Develop guidelines for responsible media reporting of suicides and restricting access to means of suicide. Develop community resilience and societal support for suicide prevention. REDS, Strategy to Suicide Prevention R equals Reinforce Leadership A equals Enhance Capacity of Health Services Institutions D equals Develop Community, Societal Support S equals Strengthen Surveillance. Governance. Framework to curb fake reviews on sites. Direction. Fake reviews are a growing menace. When the number of India's e-commerce is booming. Need for new standards. Reviews play a critical role in shopping in e-commerce. They are more important in three sectors: tour and travel, restaurant and eateries, and consumer durables. But fake reviews mislead consumers to spend money with a business or on a product they may not have otherwise chosen. This could mean other businesses are losing out on revenue they may have earned, had it not been for the fake or misleading reviews. Standards. Verification. Methods for verification of review: author through email address, identification by telephone call or SMS, confirming registration by clicking on a link, using a CAPTCHA system etc. To check traceability and genuineness of the review: author moderation. The standard provides for both automated and manual moderation and provides checks for analyzing the review content. Publication. The standard includes considerations for the review administrator at the time of publication process and after the publication process. The reviews should be legitimate and the process of collecting, moderating and publishing consumer reviews should be accurate. The protection of review authors' personal information should be ensured. The Bureau of Indian Standards BIS background. The Indian Standards Institution (ISI) was founded in 1946 by a Department of Industries and Supplies resolution and was constituted under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. About BIS. The Bureau of Indian Standards Act, 2016, established the BIS as a statutory body with its headquarters in New Delhi. It is the national standards body of India under the Department of Consumer Affairs, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food or Public Distribution, Government of India. International relations. Data point, India's loan to NE. BOURS. India's soft loans at zero or minimum interest rates to neighbors have increased from $3 billion to almost $15 billion in the last 8 years. The largest concessional credit given by India to a country has been to Bangladesh. India's lines of credit (LOC) to its neighbors have increased fourfold since 2014. A line of credit is a flexible loan from a financial institution that consists of a defined amount of money that you can access as needed and repay either immediately or over time. Interest is charged on a line of credit as soon as money is borrowed. Economy or Insights on India. Com 165. FINFLUENCERS. Context: SEBI may release guidelines for financial influencers. Finfluencers or financial influencers are those who give advice to stock investors on various social media platforms like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Need for guidelines. Sharp rise in the number of various, unregistered, investment advisors giving unsolicited social media, stock tips on various social media platforms. Reports that certain companies used social media platforms to boost their share prices through such influencers. The rate of corporate fraud is increasing at a high pace. PERMACRISIS. The Collins Dictionary's word of the year for 2022 is permacrisis. The word, most widely understood as a combination of permanent and crisis, has been in use for a little longer, from the COVID crisis to the Russia-Ukraine war. Agriculture. MRIDA. A social entrepreneurship initiative, MIDA seeks to facilitate sustainable and scalable, holistic development at the bottom of the pyramid. It launched a new gaming app, MIDA, to promote behavioral change among farmers. Health. Blue therapy. Context: 10 years after researchers first found that blue spaces could be good for us, the concept is proving to be a powerful, practical tool for mental health. Importance of nature for humans. The loss of human nature interaction has been linked to a rising tide of mental health disorders. A growing body of evidence indicates that human health, mental and physical, is intrinsically linked to nature. Just looking at natural scenery has been found to cause rapid beneficial psychological and physiological changes in salivary cortisol, blood flow, blood pressure, and brain activity. Meanwhile, contact with microbes in the environment can train our immune systems, reinforcing the good microbial communities on our skin and in our airways and guts. Education. The University of Life, or SYAMAN. TUC. Direction. This can be used as an example for bringing practical changes in the education system, improving the quality of education at sea. Context: the University of Life is a residential community center. Processes of self designed organic learning run by the residents of the Semantic community. The University of Life, or Semantic, is the brainchild of Sachin Desai and his wife. The unconventional school has no fixed curriculum and exams. Just as there is no set pattern 166 or Insights on India. Com. to life, the school aims to make its students ready for any challenge life throws their way. The school also has an entrepreneurial venture called Swayam, where students make natural and preservative-free products like wood apple syrup, raw jackfruit pickle, turmeric powder, and soap made out of natural ingredients. UTTEJAM, igniting the minds of students, teachers or parents. Direction. This example can be mentioned in ethics and essay as good initiatives taken by civil servants for the benefit of citizens. It is good to mention the name of civil servants who have done notable initiatives in your answer as it shows authenticity. Context. UTTEJAM is an initiative started by Dr. A. Sharath to improve the quality of education in his then district Jagtial, Telangana, for which he was awarded the Excellence Award in 2019. Uttejam helps in motivating SSC students and teachers to enhance their performance. Students who are weak in subjects receive extra classes for 1 hour before school starts and 1 hour after school hours. To ensure that students do not remain hungry while they are in the extra classes after school hours, they are provided with some nutritious snacks like poha or upma or tomato bath. It fuels up the students for the next 1 or 2 hours. Case study MAWAT Female Educa. TN. Direction. Example of how good governance helps in bringing social change, nudging behavior in society. Context. The Haryana government's decision to reserve half of panchayat seats for women may have accelerated ongoing social change in the backward Noor district. Changes in Noor district. Not only are families getting their daughters to study but are also set. Teaching female education is the first condition of marriage. Reduction in demands for dowry at the time of marriage. It has also made women assertive in tackling domestic violence. Safe Route to School Project. Direction. This initiative can be mentioned as the way forward. Good measures that can be taken for road safety, urban traffic decongestion, etc. Context. Ever since schools resumed physical classes this year, a number of problems, including traffic jams near school premises in the mornings and evenings, have become more prominent than ever. To address and find solutions to such problems, the Traffic Top Officer plans to revive the Safe Route to School (SRTS) project. This project had 3 main points of action. To start classes before 8:30 am and finish before 3:30 pm to avoid clashing with office timings. To encourage parents to opt for public transport as the mode of transport to school for their children. Deploying officers with special school duties during the beginning and finishing of schools for the enforcement and safety of children. Environment. Wildlife trade can benefit wildlife populations and people. Direction. This can be used as an example of where regulated intervention can help improve the numbers of wildlife species while Insights on India. Com 167. Benefiting the locals. Context. As per the recent report of CITES, sustainable and legal trade in wildlife can be a critical contributor to the conservation of wild species and their habitats, to the livelihoods of rural communities that live with wildlife, as well as to national economies. Successful case study cited in the report. Crocodile ranching programs Kenya and Zambezi Valley in Zimbabwe. The programs not only generate revenue for locals in form of tourism and sale of skin, Alligator farming. U.S. populations of the American alligator saw a decline by the 1960s due to hunting and overexploitation. The species was officially protected in 1967 and the only option for producing alligator leather was farming. All this has proved to be a huge business success, but also a conservation success, with populations recovering to such an extent that they are now classified on the IUCN Red List as least concern. Climate jargons. Glasgow Pact, reached at the 2021 UN Climate Summit in Glasgow, Scotland. It highlights the first efforts towards phasing down of fossil fuel usage. Nationally determined contributions, NDCs, are the pledges that each country makes to reduce its emissions and adapt to climate change from 2020 onward. Countries have to update and expand their NDCs every 5 years. Just transition, the term used to describe a shift to a low carbon economy that keeps the social and economic disruption of moving away from fossil fuels to a minimum while maximizing the benefits for workers, communities, and consumers. Climate finance. Richer countries agreed in 2009 to contribute $100 billion together each year by 2020 to help poorer countries adapt their economies and lessen the impact of rising seas, or more severe and frequent storms and droughts. Common but differentiated responsibilities, CBDR, were enshrined in the Kyoto Accord 1997. It says that developed countries, which produced more emissions in the past as they built their economies, should take the lead in fighting climate change. Loss and damage refers to the consequences of climate change that go beyond what people can adapt to, or when options exist but a community doesn't have the resources to access or utilize them. Sustainable Use. Hyderabad's BOWENPALLY vegetable market direction can be mentioned in ethics. Wealth from waste at sea as a bottoms up approach. Context. Hyderabad's Bowenpalli market, or the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar vegetable market, is a stellar example of sustainability. The market generates almost 10 tons of organic waste daily. This waste is converted into biogas, which is further converted into electricity. The plant generates around 500 units of electricity and 30 kilograms of biofuel daily. This electricity is used to power the administrative building, the water supply network, more than 100 street lights, and 170 shops. 168 or Insights on India. Fig. Showing biogas cycle. Ethics. Civil servants and social media. Direction. This can be mentioned as an example of the increasing use of social media by public servants to influence public perception. Context. Taking a very serious view of what it termed a publicity stunt, the Election Commission of India directed the Gujarat Chief Electoral Officer (CEO) to immediately relieve an Uttar Pradesh cadre IAS of FISA Abhishek Singh from the post of General Observer for the upcoming assembly elections. Though the officer claimed that there was nothing wrong with what he did but accepted the decision by AC. Arguments for using social media by public servants. Public interaction, continuous connectivity between officers and citizens, which helps in quick problem solving and hassle-free administration. Accountability. Through social media, officers portray their life, thus there are chances of being scrutinized at every point. To gather information and public help. Arguments against using social media by public servants against anonymity gain public support for personal purpose fame. Against secrecy. Sports. Lessons from Japanese fans FIFA 2022. Direction. This can be mentioned as an example of behavioral change building attitude, way forward in GS answers. Context. Social media is flooded with images because of which Japan's football fans are earning respect for their tradition of staying behind to help clean stadiums after World Cup games. As soon as the stadium started to empty, Japanese supporters could be seen taking out light blue disposable rubbish bags and getting to work. Lessons to be learned. Cleanliness and tidiness are like religion in Japan and they treasure them. It's a part of their education system, everyday learning. It is part of their custom. When they use the toilet, they clean it themselves. When they leave a room, they make sure it is tidy. The Japanese fans showed a similar gesture after Japan's match against Colombia in 2018. People around the globe were impressed by their readiness to clean up the stadium after the match. Oh. Insights on India. Com 169. Our founder or director, Vinay Sir, with 120 toppers of UPSC CSE 2021 at the felicitation ceremony conducted at Bengaluru. Have you subscribed to our podcast channel yet? Join us every week or listen to stories that will reignite your imagination or inspire meaningful actions. 170 Insights on India. Com or Insights on India. Com 171,172 Insights on India. Com. Download this app, visit our social media pages. Insights on India. Insights underscore ears. Insights EAS tips. Insights underscore ears. Podcast channel. Insights IAS. 3 Insights on India. Com 173,174 Insights on India. Com.